Is there a connection between Black History Month and Adventist prophecy? We explore this on Protest and Liberty today. Black History Month is upon us again, and we spend some time looking at the history of Black Americans as well as Black Adventists and trying to understand more of the historical journey this community has made in our country and in our church. Some people, however, don't see a connection between this topic and that of Adventist prophetic identity. Well, I want to go back a few years into our own Adventist history to see, in fact, a profound connection between Black history and Adventist prophecy. I want to start with a reference to a poem written by Uriah Smith, who was the editor of the Adventist Review. He wrote this in June of 1853, and that was based on the Adventist prophetic understanding of Revelation 13, which has a lamb-like beast with two horns. And Adventists had understood these horns as being freedom, both civil and religious, but that this lamb would speak as a dragon. And this dragon behavior would involve infringements on freedom of worship in the future to do with Sabbath and Sunday issues. But Uriah Smith was convinced that speaking as a dragon was occurring in his own day. Listen to this poem. He talks about the lamb-like beast and its peace and equality, but then he says this: "Lamb-like in form, is there no dragon voice heard in our land? No notes that harshly grate upon the ear of mercy, love, and truth, and put humanity to open shame? O land of boasted freedom, thou hast given the lie to all thy loud professions, first of justice, liberty, and equal rights, and thou hast set a foul and heinous blot upon the sacred page of liberty. And whilst thou traffickest in the souls of men, thou hurlst defiance, proud in face of heaven, soon to be answered with avenging doom." So Uriah Smith saw that this speaking as a dragon was being fulfilled, at least in part, by America's attitude toward the African American race, towards its racist and slavish policies. But he didn't just make that application. 50 years later, he was still editor of the Review, and he and Alonzo Jones, another famous Adventist thinker about church and state issues, in May of 1899, spoke to issues of American militarism and imperialism. And they said this in an editorial, that Seventh-day Adventists profess to believe in the United States in prophecy. Indeed, this is one of the principal things that causes people to be Seventh-day Adventists. The United States in prophecy in the book of Revelation is the source of this faith. In that prophecy, and they reference Revelation 13, there is a beast coming out of the earth with two horns like a lamb. And we have said, and it is the truth, that these two horns represent Protestantism and Republicanism. Then this beast, in spite of these lamb-like principles, speaks as a dragon and becomes oppressive, cruel, and persecuting. This shows apostasy from the principles which at first are the characteristics of the nation. Smith notes that for several years, much has been said about the principle of Protestantism or religious freedom, but, quote, very little has been said about the apostasy of the nation from its fundamental principle of republicanism, equality before the law. Yet, this is a truth as really as is the other. And now, just now, the fact pointed out in that truth is being worked out before the eyes of all people. And for months past it has been so. This apostasy is going steadily on in the presence of all. All people are interested in discussing it. But how many of them see it in the prophecy? How many of them know that there is any word of God in prophecy on this subject? Yea, how many Seventh-day Adventists are telling them of this and showing them the word of the prophecy? Yet Seventh-day Adventists are here for that very purpose. Seventh-day Adventists profess to know these things. Our very profession proclaims that we know these things. But are we telling the people? This is a remarkable editorial where Adventist church leaders acknowledge that our prophetic heritage has to do with speaking out on issues of both racial injustice and equality, and more broadly on issues of republicanism, unequal and unfair treatment under the law. So today, this month, as we celebrate Black History Month, is it not fully appropriate that we as Adventists with a prophetic heritage that has spoken in the past to issues of racial injustice, unfairness and inequality, and militarism should continue to raise these issues today, not as a sideline, not as a social justice excursion from our message, but coming from the central prophetic heritage that we have as a people? I would suggest to you that that is protest and liberty today.